Hello, ladies, and welcome. I'm Geraldine Wilkins, the Living Water Quilter, here for another live Quilt Conversations. Quilt Conversations Live. Welcome. Hello, Wilda, Lois. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Copper. How is everyone tonight? Who else is out there? Marcia, hello. Yay! Another week. And there's Jennifer. Yes. Hello. Did I miss anyone? Monica. Hello. I'm so glad we're together again. How was your week? What did you accomplish this week? I think I saw that maybe someone did some sewing or quilting. If you did, raise your hand. All right. Oh, there goes Valley and Nora and Deb. Hello, ladies. I'm so glad you're here. Awesome. We are going to have another conversation about art quilts for beginners. We touched a little bit on it last week, and that is we've touched on how to make a stencil. We're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight. But I know some of you are waiting to get more information about the new Stitching Lane Society membership. I bet you are. Oh, hello, Levon. Hello. All right. I'm so glad you're here. So, I'm going to give you all the details after I talk about the art quilt. And at that time, I will give you a link. When I give you the link, that's an exclusive link to get information about Stitching Lane Society, what it means to be a founder member and a Stitcher member. Remember, it's open only to the first 20 for the founder and for the first 20 for the Stitcher. Join today. Take time to go through that page, read all the different things, and if you like what you see and you want to join, I hope you will. Okay? But we'll talk more about that later. Okay, who else is here that I missed? Oh, there goes Madeline. Okay, Matilde. Yep, awesome. Yay. Lois is making baby clothes. Oh, for your first grandchild. Congratulations. How exciting. Oh, and there's Jane. Hi, Jane. Hello. Oh, Copper, you're working on a Bargello quilt? Let's see. Did I miss that? All right. Oh, that's Monica. You're quilting your first Bargello. That's such a beautiful design. I love Bargello quilts. Let's see. I did not do any sewing because I've been working day and night on Stitching Lane Society, the website, the membership, but I did take some pictures of a quilt top I just finished. And those of you who follow me on my Instagram feed, you'll see that. Who else did I miss? Oh, there goes Rosemary. Hello, Rosemary. Welcome. All right. Did I miss Sabrina? Sabrina's here. Yes, there she is. Hello, Sabrina. Hello. All right. Well, let's get started. We are going to talk about this art quilt, a beginner art quilt. Again, this is my series of using a wonky log cabin to tell a story. And this story is about gardening. When I first moved to Virginia, I decided to build a floral garden in my backyard. And I did it with baby plants. I did it with plants that people gave me. And I just enjoyed my time in the garden. How many of you like to do gardening? I love gardening. And I haven't been able to do much of it now that I'm a quilter. I have to choose. I choose quilting. So anyway, that's the theme of this. And this is midnight or in the garden. And the flowers are lit by the moon. So that yellow is the moon. And if you've ever been outside on a very clear night where the sky is almost like electric, it's like this deep blue and you can really see the stars. And sometimes when the moon is that bright, the brightness of that moon shines on the clouds. Have you ever seen that before? Okay. All right. You call it weeding. You're funny. Ah, no gardening for Lois. Okay. You do. Awesome, Sabrina. Yeah. We always had a garden when you was a child. Is it a floral gardening or a vegetable gardening or both? I tried vegetable gardening for a short time, but I didn't do very well. And Monica, you're addicted to gardening. What kind of gardening do you like? Which one do you do, floral or vegetable? I wish I had the time. I think recently, over the last few years, container gardening has been very popular. So, anyway, getting back to the quilt. All right, Nora, I garden with vegetables and flowers among them. Oh, that's a neat idea. I like that. Hmm. That way the bees are coming and they're pollinating and doing all what they need to do. And Jennifer, you do both. Wonderful. Wow. Very, very interesting that we quilt and a lot of us love gardening. So when that moon is out and it's a clear night with just a whisper of clouds, I just love that time. I feel like it's an electric time. It's just so vibrant. And so that's why I chose these colors. That purple is the nighttime sky at our level, and then that blue is that beautiful blue that you see at nighttime when the moon is out. And then the swirls are those whispers of clouds that sometimes the moon will reflect on. So I share this to say that's the inspiration for not only the fabric, but also the quilting. Drought tolerant plants, no veggies. Okay. Marsha, gardening's not my thing. I understand that. I understand that. So that's the inspiration. And we're going to now look at how do we transfer the flowers to our canvas, which in this case is a wonky log cabin, but it can be just a plain piece of fabric, just a whole cloth. It doesn't have to be a quilt block. I do too. I love arboretums. There's a beautiful arboretum here in Virginia. Wilda, do you remember the name of that arboretum in Richmond? Oh, it's called Lewis Ginter Botanical Gardens. Beautiful gardens. They have a shade garden. They have all kinds of gardens, just beautiful. A Japanese garden with a tea house, which I love to go. So if you're ever in the same neck of the woods and you want to go to the Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden tea house, let's go. I'm ready. We can have a beautiful lunch and walk the gardens. Okay, so stencils. Last time I told you that there were 3 ways that we can transfer the free art that we get online, and you can Google free vector art. You want very simple, solid lines that you can trace, and you need some backlight to help you put that piece of paper behind the fabric so that you can trace it. And one way is to put that on a window or a glass door. Tape it down and then trace with a pencil, a water-soluble pencil. to get it on the fabric. Another way you can get a light box is to make one yourself. This is my table. It's my dining table where I've opened it up because there's a leaf that I can insert to make the table bigger. Instead of putting the leaf inside, I put a large piece of plexiglass over it and just brought a table lamp underneath the table to create my light box. This works especially if you have a large piece that you want to trace. If you have a smaller piece, you can buy some of the commercial light boxes that work well for this. But tonight, we're going to talk about making a stencil. And I showed this to you last time. Preferably, you'd want to use an open toe foot. I had this ruler foot on the Janome. It's very, let's see, I don't want to say it's low because it's not really low. But on the ruler foot for the Janome, it has a little divot in the front that allows you to see a little bit more. It's not completely a full diameter, the same height all the way around. They have a little part cut out, so the visibility was okay. However, I would recommend you use an open toe foot and you use a jean needle or a 100 needle, something that's going to give you big holes. And of course, you take out the thread. You don't need bobbin thread, you don't need the top thread because you just want to punch holes in those lines to create your own stencil. You like that idea? Great. All right. Sabrina says that she had a vegetable garden and your dad had a green thumb. That's nice that you were able to do that with your dad. All right. And you plant flowers in the yard. I wish I had time for that. I would love to go back to gardening. Right now it feels more like a chore than enjoyment. So of course, making a stencil this way takes a little time. You have to go slow and you want to be accurate. And you don't want to choose something that's too complicated. You see how the lines for these flowers are very distinct. You can clearly see them. They are separated. There's not too much overlap. It allows you to create a very distinct and clear stencil. So when you're looking for art, vector art, look for art that has very distinct lines and the lines are separated so that you can clearly follow the line when you stitch. Now, there is the option that you could also use a walking foot, especially if it's a simple design. With the walking foot, if there's a lot of curves in the design, you would have to stop frequently and move the paper as you stitch the holes. With free motion, you're still moving the paper, but you can go a little bit faster. It takes practice. I'm sure you figured that out. Hello, Jacqueline. So glad you're here. Awesome. Yay, Jacqueline's here. All right. So that is how you do the stencil. The tips are a 100 needle, a large needle, no thread. You want vector art that has distinct and clear lines that don't overlap too much. And then you want to just take your time. Choose a simple piece of art that you can clearly follow. All right. Now, this is what it looks like when it's finished. You can see all those holes. Now the stencil is ready. I might look at this stencil up against the light and judge the size of the holes. If some of them seem a little bit too small that the pounce powder won't go through, I'll take the tip of my seam ripper and I'll gently make the hole just a little bit bigger, So you might have to test on separate fabric to make sure the holes are large enough for that pounce powder to go through. All right, hello. Yes, this is just regular paper. However, you could make it in a very thin stencil plastic. It is harder to do because when that needle goes down, it wants to pull that plastic back up with it. So I recommend just using paper. And that stencil should last a long time. After you use it, you just put it in a protective sleeve and it should be fine. How do you get the holes? Yes, Nora, you did miss something. In the previous section, I showed you how to put the holes with your sewing machine. You use a 100 needle, you stitch the holes free motion or walking foot. Walking foot takes a little bit more time. You have to shift the paper and stop sewing, shift the paper and stop sewing depending upon the design. If it's a straight line, no problem. And if you use a walking foot, here's another tip. Use the longest stitch length you can. Use like a 5 or a 4 stitch length. You don't want it to be too close because then you're just slicing the paper. The holes will be too close together. All right, so that is the stencil. What does it look like with the pounce powder? Here we go. With the pounce powder, if you're not familiar with it, it's a white powder that you get in a pad. This is a container. You can see the cap, pull that plastic cap off and I can put in more powder. Then I separate the cap, the red container, and there's a pad underneath there, and I can now take the stencil and put powder over the stencil to transfer the design to the fabric. Okay, great, Nora. You can go back and watch. Wonderful. So does everyone see how that's happening? And you can tell that some of my holes are larger than others. You see how some flowers are not as distinct? And that's why I have the pencil there. We can fill in some gaps with a water-soluble marking pencil because the powder is just faint enough. You can't, once you do it one time, you cannot do it again unless you brush it all off and start from the beginning. So that's why you want to test on another fabric first. Okay? Any questions about using the pounce pad and creating your own stencil? Any questions, ladies? We're going to talk about next how we can then slowly stitch the outline of the line art. That's the first thing you want to do, is stitch the outline. You will, yes, it would last. I mean, if you're rubbing against it, of course you're going to rub it off. But for this, it does last because you're just working in sections. And then if you reinforce it with the pencil, if you think it's starting to come off, just stop and use the pencil on those faint lines of the powder. All right. Then you start to stitch the outline. If you stitch the outline first That will help you so that you don't lose all the powder. So for instance, if I started to stitch one flower and I just kept stitching it and left the others unstitched, it's potential that my arm would rub the powder off. So what I like to do is stitch the outline of the entire artwork. Then I come back and I do the extra stitching that I want to do. And as you can see, there's a lot of threads that will need to be buried in this instance. Now, you're probably wondering why there's some parts of the flower that have more thread than the other. This is based on the theme. These are flowers that are moonlit. So the light from the moon is hitting the flowers, and the extra white thread represents the light hitting the flower. So I wanted to have extra thread all on one side based on how the moon light would hit the flower. If you, this is what it looks like up close, some detail. How do you bury threads? Do you bury threads, or do you stitch in place and then just cut the thread? A lot of people like to do that. It's certainly your personal preference, but I'm curious. What do you like to do? Do you like to just do a number of stitches and lock it in place? Or do you like to get a long top and bottom thread tail, knot it, and bury? Oh, that's a neat idea. Lois says that she lightly mixed the powder with best press and let it dry. It seems to set the powder. Fantastic. I guess if you're going to try that and you've never done it before, always remember every technique, every tool, test it before you do it on your project. Okay, so Copper says she mostly stitches in place and she sometimes buries thread. And, it depends on the situation. In this case, I buried the threads. That's kind of my habit. And if that's something you want to learn how to do, I have a short 1-minute video on my YouTube channel. And this is the thumbnail. And I show you how to bury threads so that it disappears underneath and into the batting. It makes it a nice clean finish. You don't see the knot because the knot goes underneath the fabric. Check out that video if you want to learn how I do it. All right. Monica buries. Okay. She buries thread. Awesome. And what kind of needle do you use? Use a cheater needle? Yes, Nora, I have in the description box below on YouTube a link to my affiliate links to Amazon. You just go to my influencer store. There's a Living Water Quilter store, and I have several lists on free motion. If you click on the free motion quilting tools, it's going to be in that list. And you'll see everything. The pounce pad, you'll see the needles that I use to bury thread. You'll see all kinds of things there. All right, that's a neat idea. She buries threads on quilts, but not on wall hangings, placemats, and things where the back won't be showing. And that's a good practice that you determine which type of quilt project you think needs buried threads to be buried, and some do and some don't. Yeah, it is fast. It's not, doesn't take that long. It only takes long if you have a gazillion of them. Yep. Okay, yes, you use a cheater needle. All right, awesome. Very cool. All right, what's next? Let's look at the free motion quilting. I've talked about the flowers and how I did that, and the soil. You saw that gold fabric for the soil. I used blending thread and echo quilted around the fabric, around the flowers, and I mean, for the background. Then the clouds, you see the swirls for the clouds. But for the blue, I first thought I would do some star type of free motion quilting, but I wasn't liking it. I really wanted to fill that space. And then I started to think about, the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, and how they connect, or they're made via connecting the stars one to the other. And I thought, well, why don't I do something that looks like or mimics lines connecting one star to the other. And so that's how I came up with this design. It's not exactly like the Dipper, but it's the inspiration. It's those lines that you see when you're connecting one star to the next, creating all these different points. And that we looked at last time. Constellations. Yes. Oh, Copper, you always find the right words. Thank you. Thank you. And you've seen this design before, which brings up a point. Remember, I said that we practice, right? And early on, I showed you in one live session where I used the same design over and over and over again. And so this design, which is similar to the spiral and the square, it's a spiraled, tightly stitched triangle. So it's the same concept. So I'm repeating the same concept, just a different shape. And I've used this design in many places over and over again. Here was my practice. And again, I practice on paper first, always paper and pen or whiteboard, and until you get the full motion. Once you get the full motion, you want to practice on a quilt sandwich. I can't emphasize this enough, because when you do that, it helps you learn how to get out of tight spaces. It helps you learn how to move from the top to the bottom, back up to the top, and then into a corner. So not only are you practicing the design and muscle memory so that you can remember how to stitch the design, once you have that, you have to learn how to move within the quilt space that you have. Where do you start? Do you start in the middle? Do you start on the edge? Do you start on the top right? What's your preference? And is it better for you to start at the top and work your way in a circle, or work your way in a zigzag? All right, yes, I'm so glad you made it. Awesome. Okay, Marsha, are you referring to the idea of when we're filling a background with free motion quilting, that part of our practice is what is my path for filling that space? Is it better to go up and down, left to right, right to left? And some of it's going to have to do with how you feel comfortable. If you're struggling and doing it in one direction and you can't seem to write it or stitch it, then you need to try a different direction. It's like if you're right-handed or left-handed. I can easily write in my right hand because I'm right-handed. I don't have to think about it. I can also write in my left, but I have to slow down and think about it. It's not as comfortable. It's kind of the same thing. Oh, you're listening in the car. All right. All right. She does gardening too. All right. So, does everyone get that point about the practice? I don't know if I shared that tip before. Um, all right. Yes, you do, Marsha. Okay. All right. I'm so glad you're listening in the car, Melody. I hope you're not driving or you're parked somewhere. Okay, and so this is I practiced twice before I went to the quilt. You notice that one had a curly Q on the inside of the triangle and this one has a point. And I decided to use the one with the point for this mini quilt. All right, Lorraine made it too. Awesome. Okay. This is the final mini quilt, a little mini quilt. It's no bigger than 16 inches square. I didn't measure it, but that's about it. And I thought about the finish. The previous one, I did a binding that you couldn't see. And this one, I put on polka dots to go with the theme, like little twinkling stars. This is the finished quilt. Now, it's not a complex art quilt like you've seen others do, but it does have some skills that will help you in your free motion quilting. Several skills to learn. Following a stencil, free motion, that takes takes a lot of control. Thinking about what free motion quilting patterns you're going to put in different spaces and why based on a theme. It helps you think about free motion quilting choices. That's one of the challenges that we face when we want to quilt our quilts. Not only what am I going to quilt, how am I going to quilt it? So I can choose a pattern, but why did I choose that pattern? When you do these type of art quilts and you think it through, you start to take that same idea. This was a theme, moonlit, stars, clouds, and what free motion quilting patterns represent those things. You could apply that same technique of selecting a pattern for your free motion quilting for your quilts. Then how dense do you want to quilt it? How loose do you want to quilt it? I didn't have to quilt it this densely. Yes, the size is very manageable, exactly. But you get in all this different practice. You practice choosing thread. Notice that the thread for the clouds is a contrasting thread against that purple, but then it's blending in the blue. And then there's radiating lines to represent that square, that's the moon. You get to have fun and play. And then guess what? If we pick the wrong thing, it's a small project. It didn't work that time, but we learned from that. We learn on both sides when we pick the right thing or when we pick the wrong thing. Awesome, Deb. Yes, we get to learn from a lot of different people, which is great. And we take a little bit from various people. That's wonderful. Thank you, Benita. Awesome. All right, so this is the second in the series. Next week, we're going to look at another wonky log cabin art quilt. We're going to look at this one. This is a little different. It's still using the log cabin. And you're probably wondering, why did she use a log cabin block? This was another challenge for me. I thought, you know what? Maybe I can practice designing or thinking about design with fabric in this project at the same time. Each of these log cabin blocks were very different. The color choices were different. How I selected which strips in the log cabin, what colors, created a completely different look. In this one, there's a lot more going on here. I introduced ruler quilting in this one, and there's free motion quilting. I still used a stencil. I found a cute little ladybug, and that ladybug is sitting on top of a leaf, but that leaf, instead of it being created with fabric, it's created with thread and ruler quilting. All right, Living Water family, Living Water Quilter family. Thanks, Yolanda. So this one will also introduce some new techniques, and I call that line weight. And so I'll save that for next time to talk about what do I mean when I say line weight when we're stitching free motion. Also, you're going to see a lot of little motifs like, let's see, this one here. I did a little sampler. I practiced again ahead of time of different type of leaves, free motion. I just played around with what could a leaf look like from various flowers. How can I stitch different leaves? And if you practice that, you can string them together in a border all over from edge to edge in your quilt. If you're practicing just a leaf and then you just string them together with a straight line or a curvy line. 3 leaves together, a single leaf by itself, all kinds. So we are going to look at this ladybug art quilt next time. We're going to look at all these little motifs around because this is, again, the garden theme. The first was the tree. Then we looked in closer, right, at the flowers. And now we're looking even closer, a ladybug on a flower. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you. This was so fun to quilt. I just enjoyed that. And that's what I want. I want free motion quilting to be fun. And you don't have to do a garden theme. What do you enjoy? You can just start looking on Google and type in your favorite subject for vector art and see if something is inspirational. And you can download it and print it and just save it for later for when you're ready. But start getting inspired. Pick something that you enjoy. It could be music. It could be the ocean. It could be all kinds of things. It could be roller coasters. Whatever you want. Thank you. Thank you, Edith. Thank you so much. Awesome. Well, we have now reached the time to talk about Stitching Lane Society. I'm so excited. I've been working in the background for the past, I don't know, 6 months or so. But I really digged in deep on the website and on the membership site this past month, June. And we are ready to do the pre-launch. And you ladies are a part of that. The pre-launch means that you're going to help me create this community. You're going to help me refine it and make it better and make it a place where we can learn and grow together as quilters and develop some relationships along the way to become true friends. What is Stitching Lane Society? It's all about machine quilting. That's what YouTube channel is about, Living Water Quilter YouTube channel. That is what I teach and lecture on, and I want to share that with you. So as a founder and a stitcher, you are going to get the opportunity to have lifetime access for just $20 a month to discounted courses, discounted patterns, discounted machine quilting patterns as well. Plus, on top of that, and this is all on the website, it's going to be this community. We're going to have monthly Zoom meetings. And I call those monthly meetings monthly meetup. When we meet up in Zoom, that's a time for us to show and share our machine quilting or ruler quilting progress, to cheer each other on face to face as much as we can through Zoom. Then it's a time also to encourage one another to keep trying when we feel discouraged, to share tips, things that we've done to help us move forward. And then we're going to have, if you're familiar with Zoom, breakout rooms. I think the breakout rooms are important. That means that we'll go into small groups, depending upon how many people are there, so that you can get to know one another and help each other. Okay? That's the monthly meetup. And in addition to that, we're going to have mastermind sessions. And you're wondering, well, what is that? That's where we dive deeper. That happens 4 times. We'll have 4 of those meetings quarterly. In those sessions, again on Zoom, we're going to I'll share tools and techniques. So it'd be a little learning tutorial time, some of the things that I like to use. It's also going to be a time for you to share your progress with any Stitching Lane Society course that you're taking. Share your progress. And we're going to have breakout rooms again. So that means we're going to dive deep into what you're working on and try and get help if you need it. Or it's a time to show and share your success. So with Stitching Lane Society, you get the membership site where you can come in, you have your own login, your own account. We have a community private chat where you can share photos, make comments. We have monthly meetings on Zoom, and we have quarterly masterminds, and then you get discounted access to some of my patterns and some of my courses. The first, yay, excited for the meetups. Awesome, Monica. Me too. I can't wait. The first meetup is July 19th. So if you sign up, that's our first meeting. And if you sign up tonight, when you get to the dashboard, there's a link there to sign up for the Zoom monthly meetup as well as the mastermind. So it's all ready for you to sign up. Next, the first course is a mini course. It's called the Alphabet Design eBook mini course. This is a dive into stitching what we know. It's for confident beginners. You already know how to set up your machine. You've already started stitching, but you just need some help with designing. You need some help with getting better. And I'm here to help you with that. So with the Alphabet eBook, I show you stitching path designs, techniques, and then you also have over 50 designs based on the alphabet. Each lesson includes a video demo and a little bit of instruction, but mostly it's a self-paced course. There are several assignments to help challenge you to start designing for yourself, but there's also examples in each of those lessons. And here's the bonus. you get to submit assignments if you choose. You can submit a photo, a comment to me where I can look at your progress and offer suggestions or help if you have a challenge. That's 4 assignments. The whole idea is to help you move forward in your free motion quilting journey. And this is the first course that I'm releasing on this new website, and founders and stitchers get it for 50% off if you sign up tonight. You get the course for as long as my website is live. That course is yours. And that means that if you are working on it and you are looking at it tomorrow or 6 months from now, the course is still yours as long as you are a member. Okay, here we go. You also get discounted quilt bundles. This is the first quilt bundle, quilt pattern bundle that you will have access to, discounted. And then you will have another bundle, and this is the first 3 machine ruler quilting courses that I will release, and you will have a discount on that as well. I'm really excited about what is ahead with Stitching Lane Society. The link I'm going to share with you has all the details, so don't worry if I spoke too fast. Look through the link. It has a little video also. It tells you what the Stitcher and founder members each get. It tells you about the mastermind, and it tells you everything about the free motion quilting ebook. And if this is for you, only join if this is for you. We want people in the community that are ready to conquer and master free motion quilting and want to do it in a supportive community. Join. Now, I said last week, and it still holds true today, I'm only releasing it now, live, this link, first time ever. You will have a chance to join, to read all the information, and go through it until Monday. I said Wednesday last time, but I think I'm going to release it out to my email list on Monday. I'll do it Monday afternoon. If you join, which I hope you will, it's easy to get started. As soon as you get the email back, it will say click to your course, and that really means to the Stitching Lane dashboard. On the Stitching Lane Society dashboard, that's where you're going to find the Get Started checklist. Go through that information. Take your time. Don't rush through it, because that's where you're going to find all the dates for the meetups, for the masterminds. You're going to find out how to start chatting in the community. No, I'm going to share the link in a moment, Debbie. I'll share the link in a moment. Let me go back here. Close that. Okay. So with that link, it's going to give you all the information. You sign up, then you're going to go to your dashboard. You're going to do your profile, but mainly go to that checklist. You can download the checklist if you want to have it beside you, print it out so that you can go through all the things that you need to do. On that same dashboard, you'll be able to register for the live Zoom events, and you'll also have immediate access to the 50% off on the eBook class. I chose the eBook class because it's summer. We're all busy, and I thought maybe you can start practicing with these designs whenever you can. Fit it in whenever you have opportunity, and then I will look at it and give comments when you want me to have input, and you can share photos in the community. Now, I have to say that I had a little help. Wilda, I hope you're still here. It's not hard to do. If you think, oh no, another platform, it's not hard. Wilda helped me go through each stage and signed up and did her profile, and she was able to do it. You just take your time and just figure out where things are. The checklist. Okay, Wilda, great. Wilda, how was the process of signing up? Wilda, who claims she's not tech savvy, she has a little bit of tech savviness, but she says that it was not hard to sign up. Just follow the instructions. And if you have any questions, you scroll to the bottom of the dashboard once you join, and there's FAQs. There'll be some of those questions down there with answers to some of your questions you might have. So I can't wait. I'm going to share the link now. Let me get the link. All right, here we go. I'm sharing it now in YouTube. All right, I'm going to share it on Facebook. Okay, here's the link on Facebook. Let me know that you got the link on both. Oh, good point, Wilda. When you go through the welcome pack, make sure you hit the next button, and it will take you through each step one at a time. So you click the first one, you scroll to read the information. When you're done, click next. It'll take you to the next page. You read the information and scroll to the bottom and then click next. Okay, Wilda, great. The link is there. Awesome. Anyone on Facebook? Okay. You're commenting as Geraldine. Yes, I am. So I'm excited. I hope you are. You got it. Great, Bonita. Got it. Awesome. Yay. So I can't wait. The first meeting again is July 19th. First 20 people become founders with amazing discounts. It's on that link. It shows you all the money that you'll be saving with that. The next 20 will be Stitchers, and you get that membership price for life. And you become a part of a community of quilters that want to help you grow. And I look forward to spending time with you on Zoom. Thanks for coming tonight. I really appreciate that you are interested in free motion quilting and ruler quilting. And for those of you who are watching on the replay, I'm so glad you're here. Hit that link if you want to join Stitching Lane Society. It's going to be in the description box below the video. And there's a limit on the number for the membership. The founder and stitchers are 20 and 20 for 40, but the total membership will be limited to 100 people. I'm not going to go beyond that. Thank you, ladies, for your time and your interest. Okay. Got it on Facebook, but not the same on YouTube. What does that mean? It's not the same link? Let me try again. For some reason it won't. Let me go to, let me try again. I'll switch it lowest to the other profile. Oh, okay, it worked. All right, great. Awesome. It worked. Yay! All right, ladies. So I'll see you next week. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I don't know what you have planned, if you're going to have time to sew or quilt. I hope some of you will join and start the free motion quilting design ebook, the alphabet ebook. Let me switch here. Yeah. We had another art quilt session, and we're going to do that again next week. We're going to look at the ladybug and some ruler quilting techniques for art quilts. Let's see, who else is there? Oh, that's right, 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Sheila just joined. Sheila, hello. I'm sorry I missed you. Why don't you come in? I'm so glad that you're here. Awesome. Okay, all right, Wilda, fabulous. I'm going to be home, and I think I'm going to rest a little bit. It's been kind of hectic getting this all together. I don't know, you're going to do some barbecuing over the weekend, some of you. I hope so, where you can be with family and friends. That's what we usually do. Go watch some fireworks, maybe. All right. Everyone, I will see you next week. Don't forget to like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends who you think have an interest in art quilting. And don't forget, if you want to see the video on how to bury threads, that's in the YouTube playlist for shorts, or just click videos on the Living Water Quilter channel. And I will see you next week. Or I will see you in Stitching Lane Society. I'm going to go in there and start chatting with some of you ladies, hopefully this weekend. If you joined, I want you to set up your profile, say hello in the community, post a photo of what you're quilting or something you have quilted, just to start learning how to do that. Already signed up. Woohoo! Yes, wonderful. Yay. It was easy. Fabulous. I'm so glad. All right, I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'll see you next week. Oh, way to go, Maddie. Yay. Oh my goodness, what is that? Huh. Oh well, that changed. I don't know why, but sorry about that, ladies. My scenes changed. I didn't check that. Goodbye now. See you later.